Hi everyone, we're going to find the limits by analytical methods. This is basically part 3 of where we started, and we're using our 2 special trig limits that's going to help us out here. So the first thing we're going to have is f of t equals sine of 3t over t. So what I'm going to do is take the limit of this as t approaches 0, sine of 3t over t. Now I want it to look like this one. So what I can do is write this as the limit of t approaches 0 of sine of 3t over 3t, as long as I multiply this by 3. Because that way these 3's here would cancel out and you get back to your original. So given that, we know that the limit of this is 1. So we're going to have 3 times 1, which equals 3. Okay, the next one we have is, I'll do it on the next slide. The limit, or our f of x, is, well, let's just write it out. The limit as x approaches 0 of cosine of x minus 1 over 2x squared. So analytically, what I'm going to do, I want it to look like my special limits, so I'm going to multiply the numerator by the conjugate. So that's going to be the conjugate. And the numerator, therefore, if you multiply these two, is going to be cosine squared of x minus 1. And then in the denominator, I'm going to have 2x squared times cosine x plus 1. Alright, so when you fix this up a little bit, I'm going to pull out a negative, and that's going to change this to 1 minus cosine squared of x. And then at the denominator, I'm going to have 2x squared times cosine x plus 1. Okay? So I just rewrote this by pulling out a negative. And that's going to be negative sine squared of x over 2x squared times cosine of x plus 1. Alright? Now, when I write this out, I can kind of separate this out, and I'm going to get this is going to be sine squared of x, and I'm just going to do the x squared. And then I'm going to have times this negative 1 over cosine x plus 1. And I still have the 2, so I'll put the 2 there. Now, for this one, I'm going to go ahead and multiply it by x. So I'm going to get, these are both squares, so we know that's 1. So we're going to get the limit as x approaches 0 of sine squared of x over x squared times negative 1 over 2 times cosine x plus 1. And that's going to equal 1 times negative 1/4, which is negative 0.25. Okay. The next one we have is limit as x approaches 0 of sine x squared over x. So what I'm going to do is write this as limit as x, just like the one we did before. I'm going to write it as sine squared of x, and I'm going to have this as x squared, because then that will equal 1, but I have to multiply it by x to do that. So we're going to get the, this part is 0, and this part is 1, and that equals 0. Okay, and the next one we have is the limit as x approaches 0 of sine of x over cube root of x. So I'm going to write this as, I want these two x's to be the same. So I'm going to rewrite this as the limit as x approaches 0 of sine of x over x. That's what I want. But to have that on the outside here, I'm going to have to multiply it by cube root of x squared, or x to the 2/3 basically. And that's going to give you, when I plug in a 0 here, I get 0 times 1, which equals 0. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.